Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside Tommy Chrysan here on this Monday morning edition of Sports Shorts presented by LeBear's Casino. TK joining us over in God's country, downtown Port Allen, Louisiana, 5 minutes across the Mississippi River Bridge from downtown Baton Rouge. And you can be at Court Street Cafe, a great lunch spot for all you business folks downtown. LSU, horrible. We'll get to that. Saints, great. First place. We'll get to that. LSU baseball going to be getting their national championship rings on Saturday in the PMAC at 4:30. But the best part, and it's open to the public, the best part about it, though, they're going to walk down the hill, I guess, after the team, walk down the hill and, as a team, after the football team. I mean, I don't know the timeline of everything, but I'm assuming they're going to go after the band and after the LSU football team is going to go the baseball team, but I could have that wrong. I don't know. But that's pretty cool. And then they'll go right into the PMAC, have a big ceremony, get their national championship rings. Obviously, for Tiger fans, one of the last times to see Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz kind of in an LSU, I don't want to say uniform, but in official capacity, along with their teammates. The Taysom Hill did something in the game yesterday that Tommy will tell you about that's absolutely incredible. And I was one that looked at the Taysom Hill contract when they gave it to him and thought, the last 3 years or so, I don't know if he was worth the money. The bottom line is this. I don't know what the valuation is on Taysom Hill. That's Mickey Loomis and them have to figure that out, and the salary cap and what they can offer him and all that. I just hope they are able to re-sign him after this year because he is valuable to the Saints. The question is, what's that value, right? And the thing that I will say is, I think the Saints are in the catbird seat to hopefully sign Taysom Hill to maybe a long-term deal because they are one of the franchises that can figure out how to use him. I don't know if Taysom Hill is as great as he is as a runner and a passer and a receiver, and if he can necessarily be used somewhere else. They may have a problem with how they would use him. But, boy, he is super valuable for the Saints and having maybe his best year as a pro, is having his best year as a pro in 23. LSU women basketball, Kim Mulkey and the defending national champs. We're going to get to our first look at them today, and it is a test. I mean, this team on paper is supposed to be better than last year. Back-to-back national champion, contender. They are number one in all the polls, but they have quite the challenge against Colorado tonight at 6:30 on TNT. The game is in Vegas. Tommy will tell you all about Colorado. LSU's men get underway, a little light one tonight at the PMAC at 7 o'clock. They're a heavy favorite, but your chance to see what the men can do. Unfortunately, I think most people will be watching the women. All right, TK, let's start with the bad before we get to the good. LSU's up 28-21 in the third quarter in Tuscaloosa. Jaden Daniels, they're getting the Daniels for Heisman T-shirts. Dan McNamara at Bayou Apparel has a press ready to go. I mean, as soon as the game ends, he's going to hit that button, and they're going to start cranking out all sort of Daniels for Heisman type T-shirts. And then it all turns, and LSU doesn't even sniff scoring the rest of the way. What happened?
Well, I think Alabama was the better football team, certainly on that night, and certainly from the third quarter on. Lots of factors, lots of stories. Everybody knows them. Everybody watched the game. We saw it. LSU looked really good in a few, with several things. And they looked bad with a couple of things. I mean, the third down, couldn't get off the field. That's so big. We always talk about that. But, no, Alabama was the better team the other night. I don't think there's any question about that. They control their destiny now going forward as far as winning the West and maybe being a playoff team. People said it, when they lost to Texas and struggled against South Florida, if anybody can fix it, it would be Nick Saban. Well, I don't know if they fixed it, but they sure are looking good and in control of their destiny as we roll into the second week of November. And that's where you want to be when you're an SEC team. But for Brian Kelly, for LSU, it just didn't happen. I mean, for lots of reasons, they couldn't get it done. And, they got to regroup and get ready for a Florida team that's struggling. Florida's struggling to be bowl eligible. I mean, so who knows what's going to happen with that. But Alabama was better. I clearly think it should have been targeted on Turner when he hit Jaden Daniels. It was, and here's the thing. They didn't even review it, okay, which they review all the other ones. Now, Brian Kelly said that he was told by the refs it was reviewed. But we didn't, normally when there's a review, the white cap referee makes an announcement like that play is under review. And then he comes back 40 seconds later and says the call stands or it's targeting, whatever. I don't think mechanically that was handled well. Regardless of what the ruling would have been, I think it should have been reviewed. And I'm not. I think it was a penalty. It should have been a penalty. He should have been ejected from the game. Now, who knows going forward with Jaden Daniels? Brian Kelly's going to meet with the media at noon today. My guess is he's going to say it's a day-to-day thing with the concussion protocol, et cetera, as to whether he'll play against the Gators. You would think that Nussmeier gets a lot of snaps this week, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I mean, it was a tough night for the Tigers, and now they got to focus on fixing some things and getting better for next year, because now it's going to be some whatever bowl game.
So after LSU was leading by 7, coming out right after the first drive of the third quarter, go right down the field, take the lead after a tied half. I mean, you thought, okay, here we go. And probably you thought, like I did, that whoever has the ball last is going to win the game. I mean, we were headed to a shootout or arena football type game. Everybody's going to score. If you can get maybe 2 stops in the second half, you might get a win. And then, of course, the tip pass, unfortunately, and credit Alabama, you get, the defender gets his hands up, jumps up off the field, off the defensive line, which I'm actually surprised in football overall that tip balls at the line of scrimmage don't even happen more than they do. But it was an unfortunate interception. And it wasn't Daniels' fault, wasn't LSU's fault. Alabama made a play, tipped the ball up in the air, got the pick. That obviously was a giant play because it took away possessions, it took away scoring chances. And at that point in the game, you thought, okay, if LSU's got the football, they're going to go get some points. And then on the targeting debate, which obviously knocked Daniels out of the game. And then at that point, LSU had no chance in the fourth quarter. I am, whether it was targeting or not, because, I mean, it's a fine line. And, I mean, look, I've seen all the social media. They pull up every targeting call that's going against LSU for the last decade. And was this targeting or that targeting? Look, it didn't make it didn't matter. What they got the penalty for roughing the passer. And whether or not the player is out of the game or not wasn't the reason that LSU lost the game. Once he was, concussed, that affected it. Whether it was targeting or not targeting, it doesn't matter. The combination of him being out and Milroe, they didn't have an answer for Milroe. I mean, he passed for over 200 yards. He rushed for 150 yards. He had, 4 or 5 touchdowns running the football. I mean, even if Jordan Daniels was healthy, I don't think they beat Alabama. I mean, Alabama, because of the tip pass, which led to an extra possession and a score, I think Alabama could have scored 1 or 2 more in the fourth quarter. I think Nick got conservative. He got a 2-score lead. Hey, let's just get out of here with a victory. They had no answer. LSU's defense, who gave up over 500 yards again and gave up 6 rushing touchdowns, had no answer for Milroe. We meant, the problems on third down are legendary. I mean, I think they were 11 of 13 or something like that. Alabama was against LSU on third down. It was one of the worst performances ever on third down for this LSU defense. And I'm telling you, in my opinion, I think Milroe could still be scoring. If they really wanted to score, spread the offense out, let him act like he's going to pass, and then just run the football. He was a man amongst boys running the football. LSU didn't have an answer. Once again, they looked like Ole Miss with all the missed tackles, and I credit Milroe mainly for that. I think LSU and Alabama are very similar. Jaden Daniels, I would take him with his throwing ability over Milroe, but I would take Milroe with his running ability over Jaden Daniels. So I don't know. It's a push right there. I think they both are great college quarterbacks, and Milroe's only going to get better and better. He's bigger, stronger, can run over you as well as by you and around you. It was a shame the game ended that way with, where Daniels wasn't able to finish the game, because once he was gone, there was no chance. Now there's no chance for Atlanta. Ole Miss got fortunate there at the end. They had a lot of good fortune there. Alabama's getting better. And I'll tell you, I was talking to someone yesterday at the Saints game, Tommy. they're interested to see what happens to LSU now. Now that they have 3 losses, they're completely out of the playoff conversation. They're completely out of the SEC West conversation. At best, they're going to finish 3rd in the West. Do players start to, my back hurts, I don't know if I'm going to play. Let me opt out. I'm going to put my name in a hat. Do they start automatically thinking about next year and playing younger players? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, one of my friends, that was on social media too. Like, does Jaden Daniels say, okay, regardless of the medical evaluation of the concussion thing, does he say, okay, I need to stay healthy here? And then does LSU say, well, look, if we can get Nussmeier some snaps going forward in the next bunch of games, that would help for next year, especially against Florida and against A&M. So, there's a lot of layers here. But like you said, Atlanta's out of the question. That's not going to happen. And they're going to go to some bowl game. We know that. And that's good for the underclassmen. But, Ronnie, as good as the LSU offense is and can be, that's how bad the defense is. And we kind of knew this. Now, injuries, other issues, yes, it's all a part of it. Coaching, maybe? I don't know. I think there's a lot of things on the list of why this defense is so bad. And, to the drawing board, Brian Kelly's got to go.
Well, Jacob Hester.
He's got to go to the drawing board. I don't mean he's got to go as coach.
Jacob Hester said on Twitter during the game, why aren't they putting a spy on Milroe? 3 drives in a row, whatever. And as much as you don't want to necessarily do anything to minimize Perkins, although Alabama did a great job. Tom McClure said, the problem with Perkins, why he was such a pseudo non-factor in that game is, he's just too small. Against those big, massive NFL offensive linemen, they just body him up. They just swallow him up. He's kind of such a tweener. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with his physique and what position he plays going forward. But, that's why he was sort of a non-factor in this game. But that said, it looked like LSU did not want to do what they did in Florida State and sort of do the spy thing. So instead they didn't, and then that cost them. All right, let's move on to a happier topic. The New Orleans Saints are first place in the NFC South, 5-4. First place by themselves, thanks to a miracle with the Minnesota Vikings, whose score was 6 seconds left. The Atlanta Falcons score with 30-something seconds left, and the Vikings have to get a touchdown. They go right down the field. Dobbins, in his first game in a Vikings uniform, was it
Dobbs?
Dobbs with his first game in a Vikings uniform since getting traded from Arizona, where he was having an awful year, had an unbelievable game and wins the game on a last-second throw. What an unbelievable debut in Minnesota. And now that's the Saints' next opponent. But thanks to the Texans and thanks to the Vikings, both with miracle endings, they knock off Tampa and Atlanta, and now the Saints are in first place with a game to play. A little cushion.
Ronnie, Dobbs did not take one snap at Vikings practice this week. Not one snap. Okay? They said there's no way he knows more than 10 guys on the team. They were saying in the game he was looking around people to see the name on the back of the jersey to see who it was. So, it's an incredible story. I'm pretty sure he could get some snaps this week. But the Saints are in first place, 5-4, game ahead of the Falcons. And the Saints still have to play the Falcons twice. So, their destiny clearly in their hands. They're road favorite against the Vikings. I think it's because of the quarterback situation with the Vikings. But the Vikings are also 5-4, making a little noise in the North, them and the Lions. So, I was a little surprised to see the Saints were, albeit a 2.5-point favorite, on the road against the Vikings. They are a favorite.
The Saints in that game, Taysom Hill just showed out once again and showed his versatility, receiving, passing, catching. But you told me a stat, something that he's accomplished. It's absolutely incredible.
This is a career numbers, okay? NFL career numbers. Taysom Hill is only the second guy in the history of the NFL to have at least 10 career touchdown receptions, at least 10 career rushing touchdowns, and at least 10 career passing touchdowns. Back in the 50s, a guy named Frank Gifford, who later went on to announce Monday Football for many years, was kind of a TV guy, married to Kathy Lee Gifford, the whole thing. He had done it in the 50s for the Giants, and he was an incredible athlete with the Southern Cal. But Taysom Hill, and Ronnie, I'll go back to what you said 4, 5, 6 weeks ago. I mean, the facts are the facts. When he's involved and he touches the ball and he's a part of the offense, the Saints' record is significantly better than it is when he's not. And, of course, another win yesterday. But, what he's doing, and I'm like you, when they gave him that big contract, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Along many people, not just me and you, many people said, I don't know if that's a good idea, good plan. They really screwed that up. It's going to be a waste of money. Well, apparently it's not. So, and he is a key component today and going forward, and whether or not the Saints are going to be successful, win the South Division, and maybe get crazy and make a run in the playoffs. Who knows?
The thing about it when Sean Payton and the Saints and them signed him a few years back, there was a lot of talk of him playing quarterback, and we were scared that I was scared that Sean Payton was going to fall in love with him and do something crazy and make him the heir apparent to Drew Brees. And I never saw him as a frontline quarterback in the NFL. I do see him as a valuable backup quarterback in the NFL, and clearly they use him as a switchblade. He gets a little bit of QB time, mostly just to run the football, but he does have the ability to pass it. But I don't think that high school type offense would work day in and day out in the NFL. But he is valuable as a second or third string quarterback and can win a game for you as a starting quarterback for a short period of time, and he's proven that. But to want to say, all right, he's your franchise quarterback, sign him to a full 5-year deal, he's your guy. No. But to use him the way that they are now, and they found a way, with the tight end hurt earlier this year, he's forced to play that position more. Then they discovered, man, this guy's a really good receiver. And he's getting a lot more opportunity receiving the ball. And then, they throw him when he plays that wildcat kind of quarterback position, they throw it just enough to where the other team has to be respectful of the fact that he could hurt him. But he does run the ball probably 90% of the time. It's right now they found a flow. He's staying healthy. He's not fumbling, and staying healthy and not fumbling are the two problems he's had going back to college. When he was banged up every year in college, and he's had some crucial turnover issues at times in his career at the Saints. It's all coming together in 2023 at the age of 32 or something that he is. I mean, he's not a young man, and he's getting better with age. He's like a fine wine, and they use him just enough, but not too much, to where I think at the end of the year they can go get a 3-year deal on him or something like that and sign him and keep him a New Orleans Saint, because I'm not convinced that Derek Carr is going to stay healthy or play well enough to where he doesn't need the help. And we said this a few weeks ago, when they get down in 3rd and short or 4th and short or down inside the 10-yard line, if there's a run pass option, he needs to be in there. When it's obvious pass, okay, put Derek Carr in there. But when there's a run pass option down in the red zone or short yardage to gain, I mean, he is virtually unstoppable. I guarantee you his percentages are way higher than when Derek Carr is at quarterback, versus converting or getting that first down.
Well, and the other thing that happens, Ronnie, is when he runs on the field, I don't care if they're in the red zone or, like you said, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, the defense goes, okay, Hill's in. They all got to start thinking about what did the coaches say for when Hill comes in. Other players don't have that big of an impact on the mindset of the defense when they run on the field. Because these guys have extensive game plans, the scouting reports. It's through the roof. Okay, but when he runs out there, now they all got to pay attention. It's just like when they say that tackle, I'm now an eligible receiver and all that. You have to pay attention to it. And more times than not, it's been successful for the Saints, even the time or two when he's been a decoy. It's all part of football. It's part of the strategy.
All right. So the Houdats, that's going to be now quite the game. I mean, the Vikings and Saints. The Vikings have turned things around. I think they've won 4 in a row.
4 in a row. That's correct. 4 in a row.
They obviously have a new quarterback. The fan base is going to be juiced. And Saints on the road in Minnesota, the land of Prince, and they're favored, which is a little bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I was surprised when I saw Saints favored by 2.5. But again, it's a lot to do with the quarterback situation for the Vikings. That line's probably going to move. I bet it's Pickett by kickoff because the quarterback's going to get to work, Dobbs or whatever's going to happen with the Vikings. And they've kind of quietly become 5-4 with that 4-game win streak when people were writing them off early. And then when Cousins got hurt, they definitely were writing them off. And now, they're chasing down the Lions in the NFC North.
And speaking of the Saints winning yesterday, it was ugly, Coach. It was ugly. That defense all of a sudden has regressed. They stepped up in the second half, made some plays. They got a bunch of turnovers. They had 5 turnovers, but the Saints won by the hair of their chinny chin chin. Won by 1 score, didn't cover. For you folks that had 7.5, it went to 9.5 by kickoff. They didn't cover. They had 5 turnovers to none and still had to sweat it out. It wasn't a perfect performance by any means. They missed a couple kicks, but field goals. I mean, what are they going to do there? Groupie has missed every big kick this year. Any kick with games on the line and matter. Give me every meaningful kick. Give me. I'm sure I'm missing one, but he's missed 3 or 4 meaningful kicks that could have won or made a difference in the game. I think it's time for them to pull the plug on that.
Well, the word is they're going to work another kicker out this week. But, teams do that more often than you think. Come Tuesday, which is a day off for the team, okay? That's the day when they bring guys. It could be a wide receiver. It could be a guard, kicker, punter. That's when NFL teams bring guys in. And I would venture a guess that most NFL teams have something happening every Tuesday, especially at this point in the year when you got guys banged up and sore and all that stuff. That's just part of the NFL that get talked about a lot. But the Saints have to do that. If nothing else, put a little more pressure on Groupie. Not that he needs pressure, to work harder and get better and quit hitting the upright and get it between the posts.
Passing on a couple of pieces of news. Of course, we mentioned earlier LSU baseball. They're going to get their national championship rings 4:30 on Saturday in the Pete Maravich Assembly Center, 2 hours before kickoff against Florida. There'll be a ceremony. They will come down the hill at 4 o'clock. So if you want to get a chance to see Tommy White and Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz, you can do so. The ring ceremony is open to the public in the PMAC. I'm sure it'll be packed. Also, LSU baseball won. Yesterday played 18 innings, played a 10-inning game, reset, played an 8-inning game. They tied 5-5, which was a little bit of a surprise. And I was just surprised that LSU only scored 9 runs in 18 innings. By the way, no Tommy White. He's not playing in any fall games this year. This fall, kind of had a little shoulder procedure, kind of fixing that. He's back fine, but they're not going to risk anything. Hayden Travinski will be wearing the number 8. That was a little bit of a controversial move, I thought. But, hey, Hayden Travinski off to a good start. I think he had 3 hits, had a homer in the scrimmage. Congratulations, DJ Primo, who Baton Rouge Rougarou player last summer from Central High School, lefty pitcher. He had a couple of innings of work, was really good, didn't give up anything. Aiden Moffitt, big right-handed arm. You didn't know him last year, kind of sat, but you're going to see him this year. Flamethrower, had a couple of nice innings of work. And on and on. But a little surprised that the bats probably were a little bit slow. Only 9 runs there through 18 innings against McNeese. I will be there this Sunday. LSU plays the Ragin' Cajuns at noon at Alex Box Stadium. Another probably 17, 18, 19 innings or so they'll play. But they'll be at noon at the box, open to the public, so go check it out. I know they had a sold-out crowd in Lake Charles yesterday, over 2,000 at a fall baseball game, Tommy.
When you're the national champions, things like that happen, and it's LSU baseball fever. I mean, catch it. It's out there. Obviously, should be out there. I also, it doesn't go unnoticed to me that they're doing the ring ceremony this week, and but they can't do it in the spring because Cruz and Dylan Cruz and Paul Skeens will be heading off to pitchers and catchers and spring training and amping up their preparation for the next season. So it's pretty cool. But they coincide with the Florida game. There'll be a ton of people on campus. It's going to be a special event, and added another memory of the great things happening with LSU baseball.
All right, tonight LSU's Lady Hoops open up the season 6:30 on TNT against a very good Colorado team. Give us something on Colorado.
Well, Colorado's ranked number 20 right now. They were a Sweet 16 team last year who lost out to Iowa. Of course, Iowa's who LSU beat in the title game, and they got all 5 starters have returned. They got a key player off the bench that has returned, so it'll be out in Las Vegas. It's going to be on TNT. I'm sure a lot of Tiger basketball fans will be watching as Kim Mulkey and her team. Michaela Williams will start. We talked about that many months ago. And this team on paper is fantastic. As I mentioned, I was at one of their practices a couple of weeks ago, stayed beginning to end, and they are the national champs and great shot to win it again. Right number one. They're ranked number one heading out, and it's going to be a tough matchup with Colorado tonight, but I'd be surprised if LSU doesn't win.
All right, LSU's men play at 7. You can either go to the PMAC or watch it on the ESPN Plus app. For Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. On the way out, TK, tell us about Court Street Cafe.
They've been doing the live music thing on the weekend, but they're getting a great reception. They got a big patio out front. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, 7 days a week, full service bar. Connect on Facebook and Instagram. They do a great job of getting lunch specials, dinner specials, music lineup, the whole bit. Court Street Cafe at Port Allen. Jason and the staff do a super job here. We hope you'll stop by real soon.
We'll see you on Wednesday for more Sports Shorts Daily. Until then, please like and share this video. And we appreciate LeBear's Casino, where tonight, Monday Night Football in action. Who do we
have? I got a bet
tonight?
for you. I got a bet for you there. I got the Jets +3. They're hosting the Chargers. I'm doing the Jets have won 4 in a row. I'm doing the West Coast team flies all the way east, and I'll take the 3 points. It was even money at +3. Didn't have to do the 10%, the $1.10. So I took the Jets +3 going in tonight. But yeah, Ron, you mentioned it earlier. I had the Saints -9.5 yesterday, so that didn't work. But
yeah, and
Jets +3 tonight. You might find some value there.
All right. For Tommy Krysan, I'm Ronnie Rance. Have a great one, everybody.